All right, man, peace. So I've touched very lightly on this concept in previous videos, and in just viewing this segment on one of these judge shows, I decided that it would be a very good backdrop for me to delve a little deeper into the concept of mandatory paternity testing, which is something that I believe all males in the Western civilization societies should be trying to promote and embrace. I believe that it would take a lot of confusion out of your life. And I also believe that it would make great strides in restoring an important aspect to the family unit of the patriarchy, of the male head, the importance of the man in the home. One of the reasons why many of these females believe that the man is non-essential is because to them, or many of them, the liberal females anyway, all you are is a paycheck in regards to raising your child. Many of the liberal women do not want to have male energy in the home, i.e. the Black Lives Matter movement, which is really at the far end of the liberal female spectrum. Am I talking about all females? Absolutely not. There are many good women out there who want a man in the home and who want the male energy within the home. When I say many, I mean about 3 to 5%. All right, about 3 to 5%. No, upwards to maybe 10% in that area. Point being is this: mandatory paternity testing is something that it surprises me that more men are not talking about and are not trying to promote. And let me say this: a lot of men may not understand why, even if a child is not yours by blood, you signing the birth certificate is still something that is enforceable in a court of law. It's because everything in this society, in this world, is based on corporate law. You're not viewed as a flesh and blood person. You're viewed as a corporate asset. That's why you have a birth certificate number. I've touched on this in the past. Your birth certificate number is your bond number. So when you sign the birth certificate of a child, of a newborn, basically what you're saying is that you agree to act as the caretaker for that bond until it reaches maturity, and it can start to produce a return to the corporation, which is the entity that holds ownership over that bond, over that child. Okay, you're viewed as just the person who is the holder of the bond for the corporation. The corporation being the Corporation of Homeland Security, formerly known as the United States, but which is in and of itself just a subsidiary of the worldwide corporation. That's why they hold your birth certificates over in Switzerland. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. Once again, this segment is a very good backdrop for the sentiment, the concept of mandatory paternity testing. This female here claims that she's suing her ex-boyfriend because he's demanding another paternity test. Or demanding a paternity test. So let's see what she has to say, and I'm just going to delve a little deeper into this concept.
3, and from there on, we were on and off again. I was in a relationship, just verbal abuse. Always calling me out my name, making me feel bad about myself. The last relationship that I was in, he came back into my life, and immediately I left him just like that, just to be with him.
You left the other boyfriend just like that?
Yes, the reason why she left the quote-unquote other boyfriend is because many of these liberal females, as I've touched on numerous times, they're dealing with a lot of psychological issues, depression, and every once in a while they come across a man who treats them far better than the other men in their lives have treated them. And that creates a soul tie to where they're always going back with that man, hoping that he can fill the void that was created from some type of trauma in their childhood, whether they were molested or raped or what have you. Brothers, again, always be very, very cognizant and aware of the female that you're dealing with, personal and sexual history. And when I say personal and sexual history, I'm not necessarily talking about just about how many men she's quote unquote dated or had sex with. Also, any type of traumatic sexual event that has occurred in her past. because that is going to have an effect on you and her's rapport and relationship. Did her father molest her? Did her stepfather molest her, or did some boyfriend that her mother had rape her? Was she raped in high school or in college? Things like that are going to affect you and her's rapport and relationship. And also be very cognizant in this court case here of how the female tries to justify her statement that she was the recipient of verbal abuse, what her definition of verbal abuse is.
So they couldn't get a hold on you?
Not the way he does.
Not the way he did.
In other words, once again, they had a soul tie because he most likely treated her better than she's ever been treated in her past. A lot of these people out here, both male and females, are damaged goods. What's that mean? They've been raised in very corrosive environments, and they were not gifted or blessed with the mental capacity to overcome those issues, those stumbling blocks. And that's not a crime. It's not a sin to not be blessed with a great mental capacity. But when you put a person with average or sub-average mental acuity or mental capacity into a stressful environment, they're going to end up very, very broken. And hell, you have people with higher mental capacities who almost get broken by being put in toxic conditions, toxic environments. So once again, brothers, please scrutinize these women that you're dealing with. Always keep an eye on them. It doesn't mean that you don't treat them with kindness and tenderness and lovingness. But also have an eye on how she conducts herself in certain situations. How does she conduct herself in moments of adversity for both herself and your adversity? Is she rock solid, or does she fold up? All these things are going to be telltale signs in regards to how seriously you should take the female that you're dealing with. And also, while you're examining her, examine your damn self. How do you conduct yourself during adversity? Because the woman is always going to look to you to be strong and to be stable-minded. This is why one should always reject this nonsense about gender equality. That term is an insult to both men and women because there are different qualities that are sought after in the genders. The man is not equal to the woman, and the woman is not equal to the man because they're both expected to bring certain facets to the table. But the man is the head of the woman, period. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And if a woman doesn't accept that, then you have to find one that will accept that. That's if you're a man who has the mentality that you can be a head. A lot of these men out here don't think that they can be the head. They're what are called simps or professional side dudes. But let's get back to this case. Let's see what she has to say.
You think anybody else is going to ever be able to get a hold of
her? Of course.
Okay.
I mean, that was back then. I'm talking about.
When did he get the hold off of?
When did he get the hold off? I would say.
I'm concerned, really. I want you to move on.
In 2012.
2012, that hold came off.
The hold came off, aka she found another man to give her some good rod and actually wanted to hear what she had to say. That's what that means. And most likely she's not even with that man anymore either.
Because you wouldn't have been suing him 5 years ago because he had a hold on you. So clearly, yeah, there is evidence, sir, that you no longer have a hold on her. And
hey, pay attention to what Judge Mathis just said. He said had this been 5 years ago, she would not have been suing him. Always keep in mind, man, and that's another thing about that falling in love spirit, man. When people fall out of love, it's as drastic as the energy that they had when they were quote unquote in love. I've seen it many times, okay? So, a lot of the times the people who are all lovey-dovey, super lovey-dovey are now at each other's throats. Now that the infatuation has worn off. So always be prepared for the worst.
Because you are being sued by her. All right. So, since you all have broken up for good in 2012, what have things been like?
To be honest, things have been okay. The final cutoff with us was the day before we laid his father to rest. Out of nowhere, he just brings up a DNA test that you can buy at a local store. And what he fails to realize is that the day that we had my daughter, When they come in there and ask you, do you want to do a paternity test? I said right up and I said, yes, we need to do it right now because you knew I was in a relationship before I got with you.
So listen to that. The female is acknowledging that there was a strong possibility that the child was not his. But he wanted to be a super simp and go according to his infatuation with that female and his idealistic hopes that the child was his. Brothers, in the ancient world, they didn't play that, man. They didn't play that in the ancient world. That's why it was so important for a man to have a virgin. Of course, as I've stated numerous times on this channel, the only virgins out here now, you talking about olive oil. That's the only virgin that you're going to find in this society today. But the reason why it was so important for a man to have a virgin is because, through your child and the surety that that child was a product of your seed, that was about inheritance. Like you would pass your land and your property down to your sons. And even your daughters, if you only had daughters. Job passed a lot of his property to his daughters. So that's the importance of understanding and knowing that the child is yours. But for the female to say, let's have a paternity test, he was supposed to agree to that. But that showed you he did not have a ruling class mentality.
I wanted to get it over and done with, and he refused the test.
Yes, all right. You give me some background, sir.
Okay. I met Kendall a few years ago, whatnot. And when I first met Kendall was a good girl. She had a good heart, you know what I'm saying? And so, I looked her back up on Facebook. And that's when I found her. And
You found her?
I found her on
She was
Facebook.
lost?
Nah, he just want that old thing back, that's all. He met her and she was a quote-unquote good girl. Meaning what? She treated him well because he most likely treated her well, and she most likely had never been treated as well as he treated her. I wish that the brother would treat himself a little better and take off that oversized ass suit. The man looked like he walked into the big and tall section and walked out with a discounted outfit. I mean, come on, man. The brother needs a tailor or a good mirror. But yeah, man, brothers just have to be. They have to deal with their own life with greater value. You have to look at yourself with greater value. He stated that at first she was a good girl and then she changed. No, you just did not take the time to analyze the situation in the relationship. And a lot of that is due to programming that many of these men receive from their mothers and from the television. They also have fallen prey to the falling in love archetype for relationships, where everything is supposed to be about emotional infatuation. That's not what it's about. And then they get traumatized when the dynamics of the relationship change. They don't know how to handle it. Neither party knows how to handle it. And then they just fold up. These two probably could have worked out had they been a little bit more mature.
She was lost and she needed to be found by me. And
Wow.
so,
See what I mean?
Well, you the one talking about he had a
He
whole
is
on
okay.
you. Yeah,
That's what I'm
man,
saying.
don't
He-
talk
and he
like
used
that.
that-
Yeah,
and he
you
used
the
that
one
to his
pulled his
advantage.
chest out. Now he in there
And he
talking
used
like
that to
that.
his advantage.
And ain't had a woman since. Go ahead.
Man, to say he ain't had a woman, he probably haven't had a woman since with a suit on like that. And let me tell you something, he could probably hit that right now if he wanted to. Because I'm sure she ain't got nothing on the back. She don't got no man on the back burner right now. Other than her damn vibrator or some shit. He could probably get that right now.
Go ahead.
who? What's going on,
Go
sir?
ahead with your testimony.
Okay, so
You're
like,
talking big, I'm talking you down.
Okay.
I don't think you're as big as you say. Go
I
ahead.
can understand that, Your Honor. And so, when Kendall was pregnant with this baby, I drove up and down the highway. I tore 3 cars just to go sing ABCs to her stomach, an hour and a half away to this baby, 4, 5,
You
6.
can't drive?
No, I drove
You say you
myself.
tore up 3 cars, though.
No, just, wear and tear on the car up and down the road.
Oh, wear and tear.
Wear and tear
You
on
say
the
you
car.
tore up.
Yeah.
That usually mean accident.
Let my mom explain it. Tore up my car going back and
Got
forth.
it.
Tore up cars. All right, so 2012 the baby came, and so I said, okay, Kendall, I'm gonna support you, whatever, you want to go to school, I'm gonna help you go to school, you want to go to work, you want to go do CNA, I'm gonna drive a whole hour and a half and watch this baby for 8 hours.
Now, why did he have a hold on you? He's a good man. You don't find too many good men like this now.
Well, look, according to his version, that's what he was doing. Only the people who deal intimately with this man know how good a person he is. But let me say this also, man. a lot of cats get caught up in trying to play the Mr. Goody Two Shoes role. And then they, then they end up getting shitted on the back end. I'm not sure how they fell out, but if you're going to do all that, that's fine. But you have to know that the baby is yours. That's the point. So at least you know why you're doing it. If you're trying to build a future with this female, then you can't just be driving back and forth however many hours he claimed he was driving. Spending 8 hours with the child and as he said, tearing up 3 cars. Why don't you just move in with the female and take your relationship to the next level? Clearly there was something wrong there that you guys felt like you could act as if you were going to raise a child, but you couldn't even live together. And that's yo, man. Let me say this. If you're going to deal seriously with the female, and I mentioned this on this channel in the past, if you're going to move in with the female, always have enough money to maintain your own apartment on the side. Because many of these females hide demons in them that you don't know that they have until you're living in the same domicile. So always maintain your own apartment on the side while you're living with that female. And, whether or not she knows that you have that apartment, it is what it is. But oftentimes you'll find out things that you might not have known when you live in close proximity. And that's natural. You know things about your sister, your brother, your mother, your dad, because you live with them that nobody else is ever going to know. So clearly, even though he's trying to project himself as this great person, something was going on that he felt uncomfortable possibly living with her, and vice versa.
You better go back to that hold on you. Go ahead, sir. I'm liking you more and more.
And so, okay.
But we gotta wait till we get to the end.
So, okay, so for example, this when I say she's a good girl, she done turned bad, and so her phone had got stolen.
Oh, Lord.
And so now, Kendall Marie goes over and beats up a grandmother, a child, in a rock roller, all through a screen door like this, over a $10 phone from...
Lex, don't do that, okay?
I'm just saying.
Don't do that.
You did that over a $10 phone. I said...
Because it was my daughter.
And your point about that
the very next day I said I was going to give you an iPhone. My point is that Kendall was on 5 years probation. And then I'm holding this baby, and I wake up, there's 3 cops standing around me. And Kendall's like, Lex, get up. Get up. I'm going to jail. I'm like, what is going on?
All right, let me ask you about...
Well, if all that was going on, that should have told you that she has emotional control issues. And, hey, that's another thing. A lot of cats, they're always trying to maintain these relationships with these females who they call ride or die bitches, whatever the fuck they call these broads. These wild cards, you don't know what the hell they're going to do next. And then they want to give a sob story when the broad end up spazzing out on them. I'm sorry, man. I don't feel sorry for your ass if a woman busts you upside the head with a frying pan. If you knew that she was emotionally unstable, your ass stayed with her. You deserve to get that frying pan upside your damn head, man. All right? I'm sure that she showed that she had anger management issues in the past. Once a woman shows that she has anger management issues, time to move on. Have a nice day. Goodbye.
Ask about the abuse she alleges, the verbal abuse.
Never.
Look at it right now. Always trying to put me down. I always got something negative to say.
That's not putting her down.
Yes, it is. You always got something silly to say. That's not what we...
Now, you see what she did there? That is her definition of verbal abuse. Him giving an accurate account of what occurred. She did not deny that is what occurred. That's the comedy of errors of many of these modern day black relationships, quote unquote black relationships. And it's because him as a man, he's not taught anything about himself. So he's not shown what he's supposed to be able to handle and not be willing to tolerate. He's with a woman that's on probation for 5 years, got cops coming up in his home, and he's trying to build a future with her. So he's more at fault than her because as I've always stated on this channel, the man should be held to a far higher standard than the female. The female is just a child until they get to be about 45 and upward.
What we hear about? We hear about...
I never abused
you being there for our daughter from day one, and then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, you don't care.
No, it's not like that.
That's why we hear.
I'm hurt behind the fact
that I told you when we were in the hospital. We should have subpoenaed the nurse.
She never said this in the hospital.
Lex, come on now.
I'm a highly intelligent man. If you would have told me that in the hospital, if you would have told me
Lex,
somebody
you sit there and say the baby look like my mama. This look like my dad. This dad Lex all over this baby.
No, I didn't.
So what did happen regarding paternity and parenthood, beginning with that day or...
Look, let me say this. I believe that she did tell him to have the paternity test. And I believe that he was so simped out and so inordinately hopeful about their future, their little hood relationship, that he did say what she's alleging that she said. I believe her in regards to him denying the initial paternity test. A lot of these simps are like that. And that's why I laugh at the dudes that come simping on in the comments on my channel, because they'll be the same guys that you read about in the newspaper stabbing up some broad 5,000 times because because they quote unquote got their heart broken or some craziness, some nonsense like that.
Or
this is what
be quiet.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yo, I love when you say that shit. Man, be quiet.
She said that she suggested DNA and you refused it.
She suggested it, but I said, Kendall, you said there was no other man.
Okay, so
now wait a minute. You see that? He lied and stated that she never suggested it, but now he's saying that she did suggest it, and he refuted it by saying you said that there was no other man. You already knew that she was dealing with another dude, man. Once again, that is simposity. That is simp logic 101. We're going to make the best of it. We don't need to take a paternity test. Brothers, the woman should be taking a paternity test whether you know she's been dealing with another man or not. Bottom line.
So you presumed it was yours.
Don't go away. There's more Judge Mathis after this. Plaintiff Kendall Miller says the defendant took a home DNA test, but Kendall suspects the defendant tampered with the test. So she petitioned the court for an...
She said, the narrator stated that the female is suspecting that he tampered with the DNA test. That's her way of saying, you know what, I know that he's not the dad, or at least I highly suspect that he's not, but I'm going to fight with every breath that I have to try to make him the dad, in hopes that maybe down the line me and him can get back together. And also understanding that most of these niggas that I've dealt with in my past were pieces of shit. This is the only one who even had any remote level of respect for me. Once again, many of these low-level liberal females get lucky and come across a dude that takes them seriously, and that's the guy that they pine for the majority of their life, unless they can find someone to replace that guy. Right. Once again, brothers, people can learn how to love. Okay? It's all about how replaceable you are.
For another test today.
So what is happening?
And when I say that they can learn how to love, what I mean is they can learn to be with someone. Now, people cannot learn how to be loyal. Loyalty is not something that people can learn. That's in your DNA. Now, loyalty and sacrifice are the two core aspects of true love. But when I say people can learn how to love, meaning they can learn how to be with someone in a relationship. Now, how fruitful that relationship is going to be, it's going to be based on their level of maturity and understanding.
What's happened since that time?
So the baby was born. I'm still beating the highway up, take care of this baby and my own that I got at home. I've been raising, you know, I'm spreading myself thin to be both of them, you know. And so Kendall came to me and we was just sitting on the couch, and she was at my house, and she said, yeah, she was like, that baby don't look like you, and the baby ain't even yours. I popped up off the couch like, what? This baby ain't mine. Why would you say this after 2 years? So
because she has no respect for you as a man. That's why. And I'm sure that she showed signs of that numerous times throughout your quote-unquote relationship with her, but you chose to ignore it. And this goes back to the videos that I made with the Mo Better Blues. The concubine level female, the low level female will always show you, and she will explicitly display to you that she's not quote-unquote wife material, meaning she's not someone that you should take seriously. And one of the main ways that she'll do that is to try to denigrate your manhood. Either try to imply some type of homosexuality, try to provoke jealousy by claiming that some other man is quote-unquote flirting with her, or in the case of dudes who have had a child with her allegedly, she'll state that the baby might not be yours. That's her way of telling you. He should have took that as a blessing that she said that.
So what happened after that?
So when that happened, I lost my dad. The same, probably 2 or 3 weeks later, my hero. Kendall came down. She said, I want the baby to see the family. I said, okay. I said, I got that DNA test you said we need to do. So
who says this?
Nobody.
She did?
I bought the DNA test myself.
Okay. All right.
We was just down there preparing to bury my father.
What was the result?
And the results came back that the baby was not mine.
And I'm not surprised. And even though she's stating that she did not tell him to get the test, yes, she did when you told him that the baby wasn't his.
Can we talk about the circumstances around that, Your Honor? Okay, so like I said, we got people in the house giving their condolences. We outside in the car, me, him, and the baby. You just spring the test out of nowhere, like just silly. That's not even what we should be concerning ourselves with. This is the first time that it has came up to me that
he absolutely should be concerned with that. There's never a time to not be concerned with the truth. If his father just passed, his father's in the spirit world now. God bless his dad, but his dad's in the spirit world. He has to still make sure that he has everything up to par in his current life. So it's actually something that was past due. And once again, brothers, you have to eliminate people out of your life who are bringing negative energy and negativity and trying to drag you down with their nonsense. Many of these liberal females, they want to jump into a man's life to see if they can try to offset the negative energy that's within them by trying to siphon off the positive energy that's within you. And vice versa, for a female who is quote unquote positive, allegedly positive, if they're with a so-called negative man, then they have to decide what they want to do. But once again, this channel is focused towards the so-called black man because he's supposed to be the head. So once again, when these people show you the signs, you have to act on the signs that they show you. Don't sit back and get caught up in silly shit like this.
That he's ever had any doubt.
So what do you think about the results?
I take the swab. I get the swab. I swab my mouth in front of him. I reach in the back seat. I swab our baby mouth. Now it's his turn. I don't need you watching me swab my mouth. I was like, what is the big deal? I was like, you want to know so bad? Go ahead.
Okay.
That's just more immaturity and stupidity. If you're going to bring the DNA test and swab your damn mouth, man.
What do you think of the results?
Eventually, did I see him do it? No. I think that he sabotaged the test because he don't like me and he don't want to be a part of our daughter's life.
Okay, so you believe the child is his?
I mean, it's a possibility.
So now listen to what she said. She said she believed that he wanted to take the test because he doesn't want to be a part of their life anymore because he doesn't like her. And when asked a direct question as to whether or not the child is his, she says it's a possibility. So once again, this shows you the nature of the liberal woman. That is that she's an agent of chaos. She's totally confused about her own understanding of whether or not he is the dad. And deep down, she knows that he's not. Or most likely is not. But she's going to try to maintain the opening that he is so that she can promote doubt in his own mind and confusion in his life. Right. Brothers, once again, you cannot have people bring confusion into your life. When that's happening, they have to go. Now, when you allow them to have power within your life, within your sphere, by impregnating them, things of that nature, that's something that you have to hold yourself accountable for. Because you didn't do your due diligence in searching out this person.
Like I said, when me and him got back together, in 2011, I was in another relationship. I was in a 2-year relationship.
So why are you acting like it's likely that test was wrong?
Because I'm just saying, I'm saying that she favors him, she favors me.
Okay, but you just said it's a possibility.
Yes,
it's not.
And he knows this. He's known this
Your
since day one.
Your Honor, I never known that.
Anyone seen the picture of the other guy?
No.
Can't produce it. Never.
She obviously doesn't look like him.
I think she does.
She looks like the other guy.
They're both
him.
They're both dark skinned. They both got food.
This is television here.
Yeah, it's television and it's very telling as well. It's television and it's telling as well. Hey, but it's a good learning tool. It's very, very serious, especially for you brothers out there who's, 17, 18, 19 years old might be listening to this video. Life comes at you fast, man. So, show great scruples in who you're dealing with. Because at the end of the day, the female's going to try to maintain a relationship over who she likes best, not who's the actual dad. Most women do not like to be held accountable for their actions. They think that everything is supposed to go their way. And when it doesn't, their reaction is going to be to cry. Or to plead for some type of understanding that they do not deserve. Truly, this female should be incarcerated because every time a woman alleges that a man is the father of her child and he's not, she's really committing an act of fraud. And if people viewed it from that perspective, more of these women would stop doing what they're doing. Yes, you have the right to have sex with as many men as you like. You also have the right to be criminally held accountable for your lies and for your fraud and for the confusion that you initiate.
Your Honor, I have pictures of the baby if you want to see it.
Please, ma'am, come on. You need to come better than that. Show me a picture of the other man.
I don't have one.
And that's my other daughter that I've been raising for 10 years.
To the right?
On the right. That's Easter.
I had a birth certificate that he signed. He know he the father.
You see that? You see what she's using to enforce it? That he signed the birth certificate. That is his contract. That is his contractual obligation to make sure that that bond comes to maturity. That is what the female that is what she's standing her ground on. So please be very wary of signing anything before you know that the child is yours.
Why y'all taking me through all this? You had a birth certificate? Sir, you signed it?
Under duress.
Duress must be code word for stupidity.
What is your emotional distress for, ma'am? Before we get the DNA test, what is your emotional distress?
That is all she knows. And to just cut her off at 3, it don't matter what the test say today.
You see that? Now, didn't I tell you, brothers, I've said this in numerous videos, when the female knows, the liberal female knows that she's about to be exposed, what she'll do is cry. Outside of that, she's all boisterous and pseudo-strong. But once she knows that the truth is about to come out, now she's going to try to special plead to the court for mercy. She said, no matter what the test says. What do you mean, no matter what the test says? If the test said that he was the father, she wouldn't say, well, you know what, you don't necessarily have to be in the child's life because the test doesn't matter. But the test matters. Why? Because she wants to make sure that he's a part of both the child's life and her life. Because that's the only connection that she has to make sure that he looks at her with any type of seriousness. She knows that he's ready to cut her off because he knows who she is now. But always pay attention to how the liberal female will try to escape accountability and will try to cry. That's because they're put on a pedestal in this society and they're allowed to get away with things that they should not be allowed to get away with.
I'll let you know from the gate whether he wants to admit it or not. I told him he took me out of a relationship, came and got me from this man's home and helped me pack my things.
Super simping.
That next month I was pregnant.
What has he done to you to cause you emotional stress?
It's hurting my daughter. I don't know what to tell her.
What part is hurting?
Me,
what part is hurting her?
Where's my father? Where's my daddy? Who is this? When he hits me up on Facebook and she sees his picture.
You say he comes to see her from time to time.
No, that was back then. He hasn't seen her in a while.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
Yes, and that's what the lawsuit is really about. The lawsuit was an excuse for her to see him in court. If the child was missing him so much, how come you didn't bring her to court? You want to see him. The child ain't thinking about him. The child probably playing some damn video games, eating a lot of them unhealthy cereals and foods that most of these liberal chicks feed their children.
Let's see the DNA test. Yes, sir.
Your Honor,
Don't start trembling now. Your Honor, hold on before you bring that test.
This is my mother right here,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Can
You
I
want to say something?
Yes,
Please
okay.
state your name.
I'm Linda Covington, and I just wanted to say, Judge Mathis, it's a privilege and an honor to be here, and I'm glad to see Kendall here, and I just want you to know, Kendall, that we are all mothers, and when it comes to the final analysis of the day, and I just want to say that we've always loved that baby. Kalia has been a joy to us, and I love all babies, whether she's our grandbaby or not. I just want to say that we're going to love her no matter what. So, you don't have anything to worry about, you want to bring the baby around us, we're always glad to have Kalia around.
Why didn't you take him to child support?
Let me say this. That gentleman is very, very fortunate to have a mother on that level. She conducted herself in a very, very upright manner. So the Lord blessed him with a lady like that.
I'm complying.
You went to child support enforcement.
Not received the payment, not even the card.
Hold on. Do you have an order?
Yes, I
that
do.
he is to pay?
Yes.
And what is that order? How much?
They have not given me an amount of what they think.
So then you don't have an order.
Yeah, she's lying.
Case number,
no, ma'am.
The results of the paternity test after this.
All right, so now this is the culmination of this paternity suit case. Let's see what Judge Mathis is going to reveal.
You say you had an order. When I asked you to present it, you back away and say they haven't even told you how much he should pay. So I don't believe you.
Well, shit. I haven't believed it from the start, other than her statement that she asked him to have a paternity test right after the child was born. I'll give her credit for that because he actually had to acknowledge in a roundabout way that she did.
Just like no one should believe you that he is the father, because he's not.
Look at her face. She's smirking. Now, she was crying before the results came out, but now she's smirking. Hey, brothers. Please, please, please be very, very aware of any possibility. When you have a ruling class mentality, you always hope for the best, but you always consider and plan for the worst and everything in between.
If you pay any child support, take it to child support agency and get your money back. Have a good day.
Kendall, I still up. Can I give you a hug, Kendall? Oh, God bless you. Can you bring that baby around so you can have it? All right. Okay.
Kendall will up.
He said we still gonna be friends. In other words, he's still gonna hit it whenever he's having a dry spell with other broads.
Kendall will always be my friend. We'll always be friends. You know that. And it's unfortunately that the baby's not mine. I just, you know, and I would like for the baby, that father to come step up. Kendall knows.
And that's what he's.
Hey, look. That's more simping. You've already been, quote unquote, exonerated of any responsibility for the child. It's up to her to find the child's father and do what she's responsible for and what she should have done from the very start. But she did not do that because she wanted it to be yours, because she wanted to be yours. She wanted to be yours, so she wants the child to be yours.
That's what he's gonna do.
He needs to step up.
I mean, I concur. We've been debating this for so. You finally know.
I know.
And I appreciate you for being there for the time that you was, but you already know I'm not the kind of woman that want to go in your pocket and make you take care of something that's not yours.
What? You've been doing that for the last how many years? Get the fuck out of here. But anyway, I'll probably do a series on some of these court cases if I ever see any in the future that are relevant to what I try to put forth on this channel. Peace.